You have seen crime before. Headlines, investigations, documentaries. You know what a heist looks like. You think. What you have not seen is the art inside the act, the psychology beneath the strategy.
We execute at 0300. No deviations.
4 minutes, that's their response time. 4. You're giving me 3.5. I'm giving you 4. Then where's the other 30 seconds? Already spent.
The third layer, the one investigators spent years following, a trail that was built by the very men it was meant to trap.
3 groups, 3 different languages of power. We call them the magicians, the artists, the masters, and at the end, one question given back to you. Which of these 3 understood power most completely? Art, magic, mastery, all 3 in one place. You have never witnessed crime like this, because what you are about to see is not crime. It is power, asking to be understood. Power. It existed before God named it, before heaven drew its borders, before hell learned what fire was for. Every throne, every war, every prayer ever whispered in desperation was power, asking to be understood. Remove it from this universe, and not even darkness survives. And in all of human history, only a few ever truly did. Understand it. Before we begin, I need to tell you about 1 second. Every security system ever built was engineered around it. Not 1 minute, not 1 hour. 1 second, 0.3 of it is how long the systems we are about to show you take to respond. Not 3 seconds. 0.3. The time it takes to blink. 1 wrong step, 1 extra heartbeat, 1 fraction of hesitation. And somewhere in a room that looks like the inside of a nightmare, a light turns red. A door locks from the outside. And the last thing you hear is not an alarm. It is silence. The specific silence of everything ending. These systems were not designed by careful men. They were designed by paranoid ones. Men who understood that the only unbreakable system is one that requires no second chances. Every expert, every analyst, every intelligence agency that ever studied these systems said one thing: it cannot be broken. They said something far more final than that. Why would anyone try? 3 groups of people looked at that question and answered it. Out of every act of impossible audacity in recorded human history, we chose 3. Not because they were the largest, not because they were the loudest, because they were the ones where the people involved knew. They knew the system. They knew the 1 second. They knew what failure meant. And they looked at all of it, and said, interesting. These were not desperate people. Desperation is loud. Loud people make mistakes. Mistakes activate 0.3 seconds. These were people with something far more dangerous than desperation. A plan. Inside a plan. Inside a plan. We call the first the grand strategy. What lives beneath it? The great grand strategy. And what breathes beneath that? The layer that even their own people never fully saw. The greatest grand strategy. the one that was never written down. Because some things, if written, become evidence. 3 groups, 3 different psychologies, 3 different relationships with the word impossible. We call the first group the magicians, the second the artists, and the third the masters. Their real names, what history recorded them as, we save for the end. Because names are just labels, what they did is everything. This building was designed by people who understood one thing deeply: that the most dangerous criminal is not the one who breaks in. It is the one who makes you look somewhere else while he does. So they built accordingly. Walls that could absorb an armored vehicle. Cameras with no blind spots. Motion sensors calibrated to detect a change in air pressure. Air. Pressure. A response team 4 minutes away, always, without exception. And above everything, because in every emergency the sky is the last thing anyone can control. A police helicopter unit on standby, 24 hours, ready to be airborne in under 90 seconds. The architects of this system called it not secure. They called it complete. About everything, except one. The night before, someone visited the helicopter hangar, not to steal anything, not to disable anything, not to leave any trace that forensics would later find. They left one thing, a package that looked exactly like something that should never be anywhere near a police helicopter hangar. A bomb. Or what looked like one. And in that difference between what something is and what it looks like, the magicians built their entire universe. Think about what just happened before a single door was touched, before a single alarm was triggered, before the operation even began. The magicians had already made a move, not against the building, against the response. They didn't ask, "How do we get in?" They asked, when we're inside, "Who comes?" And then, before the night even started, they
Everyone
made
in this
sure
room
the
has
answer
one
was
job,
nobody.
Not 2. 1. You do anything outside that one job, we all go home in handcuffs.
Every system has one moment where it trusts itself too much.
And that moment, Coney, is exactly 4 minutes after the alarm sounds.
The skylight, 2 centimeters thinner than regulation. They never fixed it.
They never thought anyone would come from above. This is their staging ground.
Confirmed. We neutralize the air support first.
This is the infiltration point. We have a 2-minute window.
Understood. We move at 0400.
From this moment state, the plan does not exist.
It never existed.
5 a.m. The city held its breath, the way cities do before they wake up. And from the sky came the magicians. Not through the doors, not through the walls, not through any entrance the architects had thought to protect. From above. A helicopter, landing on the roof of the most secure cash depot in the country. Ropes dropping, figures descending, moving through the skylight with the calm of men who have done this 1,000 times in their minds. And while the city slept, while the response team drove their 4-minute route, while the helicopter unit stared at a package that
The
looked
parcel
like
was
the end
never
of the
meant to
world.
explode. It was meant to be found. A Trojan horse does not need teeth. It only needs to be believed.
Keep them back. Unit 3, move away from the hangar. Perimeter secure. Package is isolated. Stand by for EOD arrival. Copy that. Hold position.
Every wall had been reinforced. Every door had been sealed. Every ground-level entrance fortified. They forgot the roof.
All right, lock in 40. Got it. Watch the 6. Device connected.
In this room, Ka, time is not money. Time is the money. Move like blades.
Come on! Hurry! Get them in! Go! Last one, shut it!
And the magicians did not plan this heist. Not exactly. They planned the world's reaction to this heist. Every move they made, every single one, was not about getting in. It was about controlling what happened after they did. The fake bomb was not to stop the helicopters. It was to guarantee that for the first time in that unit's history, every protocol, every instinct, every training would be pointed in the wrong direction, while they escaped through the sky. The same sky the system thought it owned. The magicians didn't outsmart the system. They made the system outsmart itself, and disappeared into the morning like a thought you almost had. There were 4 of them. The one who thought of the sky had spent years being told he didn't belong on the ground. The one who built the package understood one thing that most people never learn. That fear is the most obedient weapon ever created. Point it anywhere. It goes. The one who flew had hands steady enough to land in darkness on a roof the width of a thought. And the one who planned, we will meet at the end, when names finally mean something. "123 locks, not 1, not 10, 123. Each one a world unto itself, each one requiring a code that changed every 72 hours. A biometric scan that accepted 4 authorized humans on this entire Earth, and a physical key that had never been copied, or because the machine that could copy it did not exist. The security consultants who designed this system were not boastful people. But when asked if this vault could be breached, they smiled. The way people smile at questions that don't deserve answers. Inside this vault slept the kind of wealth that nations argue over. Diamonds, the compressed remains of 1 billion years of the Earth deciding to become something worth wanting. $100 million. In stones. That caught light like they were born for it. And somewhere, in a city far from this one, a man was having breakfast, reading a newspaper, like a man who had absolutely nothing planned. He had a name, a business card, an office, a reputation.
Good morning, David. Morning, Mr. Hayes. Just like every day. 2 years of being seen, so that on this day, they would not be. The cameras recorded them and filed them under nothing to report.
He was an Italian diamond merchant. Everyone who met him agreed, completely. The handshake, the eye contact, the knowledge of his industry that only decades of devotion could build. He was the most convincing man in any room he entered, because he had decided, 2 years before, to become someone who belonged in every room that mattered. He rented an office inside the building, paid his rent, on time, every month, for 2 years. He attended events, remembered names, asked about families, laughed at the right moments, and slowly, the way water slowly becomes the shape of whatever holds it. He became part of the building, not a visitor, not a tenant. Part of it. The artists understood something that no security system has ever successfully defended against. Familiarity, the human brain, the most sophisticated pattern recognition device ever assembled, has one catastrophic flaw. It stops looking at what it has already classified. He walked past those cameras every single day for 2 years, and on the day it mattered, the cameras saw him, the guards saw him, the building saw him.
$123.
123 different answers to the same question.
And you have all of them? The problem with becoming someone else tonight, is knowing when to stop.
You stop the moment you walk out, not a second before. To the people in that building.
To them?
They trusted me for 2 years. The least I can do is thank them.
This is the grand strategy. We execute at 0300. No deviations.
And thought, Tuesday. They chose a weekend in February, not randomly. Every human system, no matter how sophisticated, exhales on weekends. Guards whose attention peaks on Monday drift by Saturday. Not negligence. Biology. That the artists didn't exploit a weakness in the security. They exploited a weakness in being human. They moved through 100 to 23 locks, with patience so complete, so absolute, that the locks almost seemed to open out of respect. Here is what made investigators sit in silence for a very long time. Not one lock was broken. Not one camera was disabled. Not one alarm was triggered. The system performed perfectly. It recorded everything, flagged nothing, responded to nothing. Because from the system's perspective, nothing happened. The man it recognized walked through a building it knew, and touched things it had no reason to protect from someone it had no reason to suspect. The artists didn't defeat the system. They became what the system was designed to protect, and took everything from the inside of a vault that was never, not once, actually open. I want to tell you about a building, what that had decided, on behalf of all of us, to hold something that belonged to everyone. Art. Not the kind you pass, the kind that stops you, mid-step, mid-thought, mid-breath. The kind that makes you realize that someone, centuries before you were born, felt exactly what you feel right now, and painted it. This building had alarms, cameras, guards, a response protocol that had been rehearsed until it was instinct. And one rule, above all others, written, signed, understood: never open the door after midnight for anyone. Not for anyone. For any reason.
The rotation changes at midnight. We have a window.
Saturday, then. 12:45 sharp.
The first layer. 2 uniforms.
They will ask for identification.
No, they will not.
How can you be certain?
Because it is 1 a.m. and nobody questions authority at 1 a.m. They are too relieved to see it.
The second layer. Not the uniforms. Protocol assumes human beings perform at capacity.
You know what we are taking is non-irreplaceable.
That is exactly why it will never be searched for in the right
They
places.
will never stop looking.
Good. Let them look. Looking is not finding.
The third layer. The one no expert has ever fully articulated.
81 minutes.
That is all?
That is more than enough. The door opens in 10 seconds. Everything else, Corey, is already done.
(1:16 a.m.). The door had never been knocked on at this hour. Not once. In the entire history of this building.
1 a.m. A knock. 2 guards heard it, looked at each other, and had made a decision that would echo for the next 34 years. On the other side of that door stood 2 men in Boston police uniforms, with Boston police badges, with the calm of men who have knocked on 1,000 doors at 1 a.m. and told whoever answered that everything was fine, that there was a disturbance nearby, that this was routine, standard. Nothing to be concerned about. The guards looked at the uniforms, looked at the badges, felt the weight of authority pressing through the door, and made the most human decision in human history. They believed them. The door opened. The masters understood something that the magicians and the artists only partially touched. Now, the magicians controlled the response. The artists controlled perception. The masters controlled the asset. The guards, the people paid to protect, became the people who opened the door. The alarm system, designed to trigger on unauthorized entry, never triggered, because the entry was authorized by the people whose job was to prevent it. The masters didn't bring tools to break the system. They wore the system like a coat and walked in. 81 minutes. That is how long they were inside. 81 minutes. In a building full of alarms, full of cameras, full of systems designed by people whose entire careers existed for this moment. 81 minutes. And not one alarm, not one camera triggered, not one system activated, because the system was watching the door, and the door was already open. Rembrandt, Vermeer, Flink, names that took centuries to create, carried out in 81 minutes, through a door that should never have opened, but did, because someone knocked and someone answered. And that is the most human story ever told. They were never found. The masters, never identified. The paintings, never recovered. And the museum kept the empty frames on the walls. By law, they are still there. Today, empty golden frames on museum walls for 34 years, waiting, and for paintings that are somewhere on this earth, in a room that no map shows, hanging on a wall that no one will ever be invited to see. The greatest grand strategy of the masters was not the uniforms, not the authority, not the 81 minutes. It was this. They took something that belonged to everyone and made it belong to no one. Again. And somewhere, right now, as you watch this, someone wakes up next to a Rembrandt that they knocked a door to get at 1 a.m. and the door opened. 3 groups, 3 different psychologies. The magicians controlled the response. They didn't fight the system. They made the system fight itself. And the artists controlled perception. They didn't trick the system. They became what the system trusted. The masters controlled the asset. They didn't break the system. They turned it like a key from the inside. And between these 3, something emerges. A truth that no security briefing has ever successfully taught. The most dangerous person in any system is not the one who attacks it. It is the one who understands it better than the people who built it. Their real names. What history recorded them as. The magicians. The Stockholm Helicopter Robbery. September 23rd, 2009. Sweden. Cash stolen. $5 million. Suspects eventually identified. Mastermind still disputed. Of the artists. The Antwerp Diamond Heist. February 2003. Belgium. $100 million in diamonds. 1 man convicted. Leonardo Notarbartolo. The diamonds never recovered. The Masters. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. March 18, 1990. Boston. $500 million of human history. Suspects unknown. Paintings unknown. Location unknown. The empty frames still hang. Today. We called them the magicians, the artists, the masters. But here, at the end, we give the question back to you. Because the greatest strategy was never ours to decide. Which one understood power most completely? The ones who controlled what came after. The ones who controlled what was seen. Or the ones who controlled what opened the door. In the first place, has always asked this question of everyone, in every room, in every moment that ever mattered. How well do you understand me? These 3 groups answered. The question now is you. Next time, 3 wounds that the world gave to 3 people, and what those 3 people gave back to the world. The psychology of power. Subscribe if you survived this one.